have it recorded. So you guys are recording. My screen's recording. Let me get up on the web page. All right, here we go. So, all right, so we got Devin, we got Eric, we got Travis. So let's jump right in. So you guys know this week, obviously the FAA approved the whole thing. They approved the final, the checklist, the safety checklist. I know I got it written on the form here, airworthiness checklist, but it's actually the safety checklist. They want to start the Scott Moore. He's from the Dallas-Fort Worth office. He wants to start the inspections Friday morning at 8 o'clock. He wants to try to wrap it up by noon. He wants to try to be on a flight back to Dallas that afternoon. So the good news is I don't think we're going to have the FAA breathing down our necks on Saturday and Sunday. Last time we had three guys from the FAA watching everything we did. They were extremely happy last time, so I think that's why they're willing to give us leeway to go ahead and kind of self-police, self-monitor, kind of do like what Boeing did, critique ourselves, I guess, or run it ourselves. So anyway, they're giving us some leeway. 8 o'clock in the conference room. We can set up the night before if you guys want, or the conference room is all ours that weekend. Keep our airplanes in there if you want. On that note, feel free to bring whatever you need: soldering station, extra connectors. Your toolbox of stuff. Probably more than what you would just bring out to a flying site, right? For going to fly your airplane, just in case. You never know what comes up when we get there. Any questions about the time and the place of the inspection? Eric, you good?
Yeah, so I think I told you before, but because of the teammates I want to bring with me, they can't get out of class until Thursday late afternoon, which is forcing me to take an evening flight on Thursday so I can go with them and we can bring all our stuff. And as a result, I probably won't get there until like 10 or 11 p.m.
Okay.
But our intent is to have the aircraft ready to go, for inspection in the morning. So we get in, we get some sleep, and just attach our wings. We have detachable wing with the DRAC that's how we're packing it and storing it.
Yeah.
So we'll attach it. We'll attach our connections. We have half a dozen connections to the wings, and then we can do whatever demonstration we need to do for the FAA in the morning.
Okay, sounds good. Just remember, Eric, if something happened with that flight Thursday night, you guys end up really late or not getting there till Friday, you have to be there for the inspection on Friday. I'm just going to lay it out there. I doubt Scott's going to stick around. If you're not there, that's just the airplane isn't going to be. I'll be blunt. The airplane's not going to be able to fly on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
So there's not unfortunately nothing we can do on that end.
Yeah.
Travis, any comments or concerns about the inspection on Friday morning?
Nope, not at the moment. I'm sure we'll have some questions as we kind of run through the list and get into that conversation, but nothing at this time.
Devin, anything? Devin? Hello, Devin.
Sorry, you're on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, everything seems pretty straightforward. Thanks.
Okay. The revision that I submitted was approved, so we now got an 8-foot wingspan is approved, 2,438 millimeters, fuselage 7 feet, 915 millimeters, aircraft height no greater than 3 feet, aircraft gross weight, we got 10 pounds or under 4,535 grams. Final aircraft weight and balance will be demonstrated that morning to the FAA. So that morning, when you guys, during the inspection on Friday morning, you're going to have to demonstrate that the aircraft is within center of gravity. So with that said, like obviously in the real airplane world, we do all this mathematical computation and come up with where the CG is based on the mean aerodynamic chord of the vehicle. We don't have to do that for this. In our realm of the RC airplane world, we know where the CG on that aircraft should be. The RV jet is just forward of the vertical strakes on it. I think the drac, if I remember right, actually I don't know on a large drac, but wherever you guys know that CG to be, first of all, make sure you have the position marked on the aircraft where the CG should be, and you can just simply put a line, or you can use the conventional center of gravity mark that's used, obviously in the industry, just a round circle with the black and white quarter boxes or quarter circles blacked out or whatever. That's fine. Just know where your CG is. That morning, you're going to have to demonstrate, okay, I usually use my fingertips just like we do in the flying field. You get it all loaded up, ready to go. You put your battery in, balance it out, make whatever adjustments, balance it out, and then that's how the FAA was perfectly happy with accepting that as calculating our center of gravity. You're not going to have to sit there and calculate mean aerodynamic chord and the whole 9 yards.
So I want a question. So first off, do we need to mark the center of pressure?
No,
too?
just
Rockets, just the center of gravity.
No, just center of gravity. I mean, if you mark center of pressure, it's not a big deal. Nobody's going to question it. But what the FAA is just concerned about is that you're able to demonstrate that the aircraft, as loaded for the mission, is within CG.
Well, I mean, what is that? I'm just trying to figure out how that's meaningful, because we get the CG based on where we want to put it, and then we mark that, and then that's where it is.
Yep.
So are we just demonstrating that it hasn't changed since when we designed and test flown it?
That's all you're doing is wherever the manufacturer recommends the CG for that aircraft, you're just demonstrating based with your payload in that aircraft, meaning electronics, batteries, whatever else, APRS transmitters, the whole 9 yards. You're demonstrating that the airplane is ready for flight and that it's within CG.
Okay. And is it sufficient? The way that we're adjusting our CG, if necessary, is we have some slots for the battery, and so basically we have some insulation that
Yes.
the batteries sit around, and we have various sizes of those, such that we can move the battery slightly forward or slightly backwards. Does that sound sufficient to you?
Totally. As long as your team can demonstrate that the aircraft is within CG, flying CG, the FAA will buy off on that. There's no need to do the mathematical computations or anything.
Okay.
So Eric, I take it you're good with that?
Yeah. As long as when we're demonstrating, if they're not happy with the CG, they'll allow us to then make the modifications in the aircraft necessary to demonstrate again.
Oh yeah.
That the CG is in a happy place.
You
then
guys will
that's fine.
see my 3 teams are going first. So if you guys want sit in on our inspections, and you will see how it goes. The big thing here, for those of you who've never done something like this with the FAA before, only speak when you're asked a question, and just answer the question. Don't dig a rabbit hole. Don't really refrain from saying we think, or it should, or just answer the question. Is your aircraft in CG? Yes. Can you demonstrate the CG? Yes. And then you go ahead and you demonstrate this is where the manufacturer suggests the center of gravity should be. You lift up your airplane, put your, maybe have a student or whatever help you, and then show that you can balance the aircraft at the CG on your fingertips, just like we would out at a flying field, and show the FAA that it's roughly, balanced. Obviously, the airplane might tip a little bit forward or tip a little bit back. It's you're demonstrating that it's within CG. Make sense?
Sounds good here.
It definitely sounds good here, as Travis said. It's kind of a funny requirement, though, because like with the Dracs, these wings are a bit custom, so there's no way that they're going to be able to check on the CG. I mean, this comes from Chris's recommendation, and then our tuning of the craft to get it to fly right.
Yeah. So that's just it, Travis. Like, you guys have been flying yours already. You guys know where the CG is, right? Or where the airplane flies happy, right? Because if you have an aft CG, the airplane is almost uncontrollable. And then if you have the forward CG, it's almost too stable. In fact, it might even be nose down on, want to always pitch down on you no matter what you do with the trim. So based on your guys' flight testing, where you guys find the best center of gravity, that's what you're demonstrating. That this is, in our flight testing, this is our best demonstrated center of gravity for this aircraft based on the way we've got it configured.
Perfect.
Yeah,
hey, Paul, I have.
Oh, go ahead, Travis.
I have one very quick question. I'm going to derail us just very shortly. Do we still need to have posted up 3 hours of flight video on YouTube?
No. I totally messed that up. It's not 3 hours. I thought it was 3 hours, and I scanned the whole document to make sure that wasn't in there. It is, and we're going to go through this. I think I got it in the show notes down here somewhere, but I think it's only 3 minutes, not 3 hours. 3 minutes.
3 minutes? There's
Yeah.
3 minutes?
Just 3 minutes of flying video.
Oh, that's okay. That is a huge relief to me.
Yeah.
We haven't had our maiden yet. I'm working hard on it today to try to get there, and we think we might be able to fly today. It might be some couple days from now.
Yep.
But my biggest challenge has been getting the batteries that we designed against. Get FPV. I've had orders in place. They've been back ordered. They're lithium ions, 6S lithium ions, and obviously we can get a good 10-15 minutes of flight time, more actually, probably 20 minutes, but trying to get 3 hours would have been very difficult.
No. So that 3 hour, so the 3 minutes of demonstrating that's all it is just have, when you go out and fly, just have somebody record from a visual line of sight perspective of the aircraft, the launch, however, if you guys bungee launch, however you launch, record the launch, the takeoff, just circle around the flying field, don't bust any regulations in your area, don't go flying up to 1,000 feet with the airplane, stay under 400 feet or wherever the, whatever the altitude limit is in your area, if you happen to be if you're flying in controlled airspace or whatever. Keep yourself legal, obviously, so that you're not giving the FAA any meat to say, hey, what were you guys doing flying at 1,000 feet, blah, blah, blah. Keep it legal. Just a 3-minute flight of that airplane flying, and that's all you got to do. And just film it via not first person view, line of sight view, just as if you were, have that person record and just upload it to YouTube. And it's just 3 minutes. I'm so sorry I told you guys 3 hours at first. It's 3 minutes.
No problem. Hey, thank you very much, Paul. That's a big help. That was one of the questions that we had. So
yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. Devin, you good with that?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. On a side note, guys, here, and I'll mention this: Eric, Travis, and Devin. My 3 teams all have high school students on them, high school and some even junior high students, and then also teachers. So some of the stuff we're going to talk about here in just a minute applies how I've got this thing approved by the FAA. You guys are more the professionals in the field, and the way I'll shoehorn this with Scott, if he questions, where's the students for these teams, and I'm open to suggestions too from you guys, is the way I'll shoehorn this, or the way I'm trying to think this through in my head, is I'm going to shoehorn this as professional development for you guys. And obviously I know all of us here on the call, RC airplane, UAV stuff is our wheelhouse, right? But for the FAA to call this professional development, meaning I'm showing you guys how to take what your knowledge is and bring it into the classroom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Travis,
Hey,
cool?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
I do have students on my team. I have a college student who will be with me, as well as a couple of high school students that are now college students.
Okay.
That will not be coming.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I can document that. There's
Yeah.
more students than there are professionals on this team.
Yep. Good. So, then so what I'm saying is, just if it comes up at all, and I don't think it will, but if it does, I'll just let Scott know that this is professional development with you guys. I'm working with you guys so that you guys can hopefully expand in your areas in the future to include more students on your team, but since you guys aren't quote teachers or necessarily facilitators and this is your first time through, you guys are test bedding this for yourselves so that in the future if we do any future projects, or when we do any future projects, you guys now have the capability to round up a group of 10 or 15 high school students or maybe even go into a high school and work with them on this project. Does that all sound like a good plan, you guys?
The whole intent on my end here was to have some hardware that I can bring around to like my first robotics teams and all that. So that's why it was so hard to recruit. Not besides the fact that I moved 3 times. It was hard to recruit because I didn't have any hardware to show. And
sure.
Now that I'll have hardware to show for the next phase of this, that's when I really wanted to get things moving in that realm. So yes, absolutely part of professional development. At least for my flight, the main builder, or at least the intent for the main builder, were college students or high school students. I have to step in a little bit now to get that really finished, but I was kind of the financer for all this and the mission manager of sorts. Anyway, yeah, I agree, and I will have my college student be the one doing most of the flying, actually, and the flight testing.
Sure. All right, sounds
Paul?
good. Yeah, go ahead, Devin.
Just to kind of emphasize our end of it too, just so we're all kind of on the same narrative. My team discussed it. We're really eager there to teach the students
Sure.
that come
Exactly.
around. We're gonna have professional equipment there to show, just to help inspire everybody and what can be done in this realm. So that's kind of how we looked at it, even though we don't have any students. And even though we're a company, like we're really looking at it as a professional development, but more importantly, like an overall development for the community.
No, that's a very good point, Devin. And I think early on, that was one of my intents too, is exactly what you just said. So, yeah, I think we're all on that same page. And I don't think Scott, and when I say Scott, I mean Scott Moore, the FA guy. I don't think he's going to have any heartache at all with that. Is us using that as our our move forward path. Sound good, you guys?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, sounds good for Team Icarus.
Yeah, so here we go. We'll jump into this form. This is form 8130.34. It's the airworthiness certification of a UAV. So
Paul, really quickly, are you showing something?
No, what I'm at is, that the email that I sent you guys.
Okay.
Okay, I sent you guys an email with a Word document or a PDF.
Yeah, I have the PDF up.
Yep. So I'm just following right through. So right now we're discussing. I'm down to discuss the inspection checklist. And
Okay, so this is what I've got it up. It's got the blue marks crossing out NA. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I follow now. Thank you.
This is the form. Devin, are you where we are looking at the form?
I am.
And Travis is there. Eric, you're there too?
Yeah.
Okay, item number 1 on the form. This is, that's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the checklist for the form. This is what Scott sent me so that we all understand how the inspection is going to be carried out on Friday morning. So item number 1 is just the form itself. Item number 2, the supporting documents. This is done. Item number 3 on the right-hand side, this is done. So all the blue stuff we can skip through. Safety checklist number 4. You guys all know I've been hammering to look through the safety checklist and make sure you guys go through it. That's done already. Operating manuals and checklist. You guys will see if you guys go through the video from the last time that we operated at Spaceport. You'll notice I have a very large, like 3-inch binder. It's a 3-inch binder. What is in there is the safety checklist, the program letters for each team, and a condensed version of the whole safety checklist. I will have that. what I'm going to need from you guys going forward. This isn't like going out to the RC airplane park where we just plug in our battery, maybe flight control check the airplane, make sure our radio switches are all right, and then just power up and go fly. The FAA is huge in the checklist. So you guys, if you'll notice, in the safety checklist and in the program letter, there is the checklist that we need to follow. So the first checklist, I think, starts, we got a day before launch checklist. We've got the day of launch checklist. We have a launch checklist. We have a release checklist. So there's checklists throughout. I urge you guys to take from the Word document and cut out the checklist that I've already made for our teams. And it's still, that checklist is evolving to it on our point too. It is not complete from what we're going to do. But anyway, clip that out, go through it, and feel free to add whatever you guys need for your team to make sure you have an adequate checklist. And the way you run the checklist, and I'm sorry if I'm talking down to you guys at all with checklist usage, I'm just giving it to you from how the FAA likes to see it done, is you can use it as a to-do list. So let's say the airplane is completely unpowered, it's on a table, or we happen to use a camera stand with a harness mechanism on the camera stand, so the airplane is not necessarily on a table, it's hanging by the harness. If the first step is plug in batteries or whatever, all right, so check, plug batteries in. Number 2, check. You can use it as a to-do list, or you can get everything powered up, everything ready, so you can use it as a checklist. Like, we already did everything, now we're just going through and checking everything. And the FAA is huge on the checklist usage. So am I clear? We will, as a group, we will run the day before launch checklist. We'll do that probably in the conference room, maybe after the FAA leaves. Just before we head over to Spaceport, we should have an hour or two. It'll be no problem to knock out the day before launch checklist. So anyway, my whole point here is take and make a checklist for your guys' setup. Does that sound good?
Give examples of what needs to be on the day before checklist as opposed to the day of. The day of is preparing the aircraft, but
yeah, the day before launch checklist is a lot of it is the weather and the prediction, running a prediction of your flight path and the whole 9 yards. If you go into either one, the program letter or the safety checklist, the actual checklist that I'm talking about are at the end of the document. I don't know how far down, but they're in there. And I can pull those up here on my screen so we have them. Any questions about that, you guys, the safety checklist?
Paul,
I'm sorry. I don't want to mince words. Not the safety check. Safety checklist is an FAA document. The actual checklist that you guys got to develop are in the safety checklist itself. It's down on page number. I'll give you guys page number here. Hang on, guys. I'm getting there. All right. The checklist usage starts on page 86 of the safety checklist, and it's the risk analysis checklist and procedures checklist. And just start going through that. Scroll on down through to page 90. And I'm screen capturing this for all of you guys too. On page 90, it says day before launch checklist. Go over weather launch, run prediction, test all systems. The other thing that we will add here in this day before launch checklist is to get our APRS systems initialized at Spaceport so that there's no problems the following day. And out at Spaceport, it can take that APRS system, I'll just go out on a limb and say it could take 30 minutes for that thing to initialize, even though it won't. I'm just saying in theory, it could take 30 minutes for your APRS to initialize. When I initialized ours here in the backyard, I have 3 of them that I initialized, and one took maybe 5 or 4 minutes to initialize. The other 2 were probably all in the same. There's no rhyme or reason to how long it takes for them to initialize, but definitely let's do that at spaceport the day before, because then the next day when we fire up or start up the APRS system, it'll only take a minute or 2 for it to lock in and initialize.
Hey, Paul, really quickly, in looking at the safety checklist link that you have on the Google Groups,
Yes.
it's a PDF.
Yes.
Do you have dated February 5th, 2017?
Oh yeah,
I've
got the updated one, yes, I thought I supplied that to you guys the other day in the email, but maybe I didn't. But I will definitely, let me write this down. As soon as we get off the call, I will send you guys the updated link to the safety checklist and the updated program letters.
Okay, because if it's on the Google group, that's one other resource.
Yes.
So.
No, I'll update it there too. Hang on, guys. I'm writing here.
Thank you.
Yep, and take those checklists, day before launch checklist. What I'll do with that one is it's already written in a form that was totally acceptable to the FAA last time we did this. I'll look it through one more time, and then I'll send it out to you guys. And if you guys have anything you want to add, because the day before launch checklist could apply to all of us. And not all 6 teams have to sit there and run the day before launch or the risk analysis. We can do that as a group, right? We can just sit down in the conference room and run that as a group. So you scroll down on page 91, day before launch risk analysis checklist. Page 91, and then page 93 discusses the requirements, required conditions for launch of our UAV. And then on page 95 is the pre-launch checklist, which needs to be completed 2 hours before you start your launch. And again, it's a repeat. So a lot of the information in the checklist is information that you can already have pre-filled into the blank. You got to remember this. The way this thing was written was so that it can be reused. So anyway, a lot of this stuff like weight of your payload, you can fill that in 10 days ahead of time if you know what it is. Weight of our balloon, we already know that's 3,000 grams. So you guys can fill that stuff in. We can do this. No, we won't be able. These are going to be done individually. So that's the risk analysis checklist on launch day. And then, again, you go through the requirements for launch. And then on page 98, it starts the actual UAV checklist. Check video antenna is connected properly. Check Dragon Link antenna. So it's a checklist to make sure your aircraft is ready for flight. And then you have a launch checklist, release checklist. Again, I will take this out of the safety checklist, and then we can, I'm sure since the last time that we did this, there might be some items that each team wants to address based on each team's needs or whatever. Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Paul.
Sounds good.
Eric, you good?
Yeah, although one question is, since I'm scheduled for Sunday,
yes,
the day before for me is Saturday. And if I'm doing checkouts and things like that, I want to make sure that anything I'm doing that's powering up is not going to affect the other flights in progress.
Yeah, so powering up on the day before, you'll have plenty of time throughout the day to power up, like when airplanes are on the ground and there's no flights, because in reality there's only going to be, it's an hour and 30 minutes up, hour 30 minutes down, so you're going to have time throughout the day to power up your airplane, where multiple airplanes can be powered up. Obviously we won't be able to share the video spectrum, but if you make just a little video cord that you can plug directly in your monitor and bypass your ground station, that's what I do, so I don't even have to power on my video transmitter. You can still check systems and everything else without transmitting a wireless signal. But as far as everything else, your Dragon Lake, they're all going to be discrete. The APRS systems are all discrete, so you're not the only system that's going to cause any problems would be the video system, and you'll have plenty of time on the day before.
Yeah, and we have no problem with just disconnecting the video system when testing all the other components, even when others are in flight, I suppose.
Yeah, if an airplane is in flight, I think as a blanket statement, I think Travis and I kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think as a blanket statement, I want to go with if an airplane is in flight, or as soon as an airplane is powered on and getting ready for flight, all the way until an airplane is on the ground, I think as a blanket statement, I'm going to say let's refrain from powering anything on, just because.
Case, and that's 9 hours on Saturday. I'm looking at your schedule now, and so basically from 6:30 a.m. There's only 1 hour windows in between each team that all the aircraft are on the ground. So we could always go back to the hotel, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You guys can do this at the hotel. You're going to have time. You're going to have 1 hour time breaks there. There's definitely going to be time on Saturday, because each team has got 4 hours. Your mission is, shouldn't take longer than 3 hours to get up and back down, and then that leaves an hour between each group. You do have time if you do want to do something there. It's not like you don't have any time, and especially for our purposes, that your airplane should be. You should be beyond the point of needing to do any adjust. It should be ready to go at that point. The only thing that you might need to do is initialize the APRS again if you wanted to, but I don't. And like I said, you're welcome to do the stuff at the hotel as well. Any questions, you guys?
Hey, Paul, one quick question about being there. Since our team is flying on Saturday, this is Team Icarus.
Yeah.
On Friday, will we be able to set up mission control and everything else so that we can roll in on Saturday and not have to be
Friday
with that?
Let's go. All right, so if you guys want to, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but if you want, let's go ahead and you guys open up the STEM Plus C, the Strato Journey webpage. And let me know when everybody is on Strato Journey webpage. Kate, you joined the call?
Hey, yes, I am on.
All right, Kate, I'd say, we've started. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
All right, let me know when everybody has got the Strato Journey page up.
I've got it up.
I got it up.
Eric, you there?
I have it up.
All right, so scroll on down. It is about 3/4 of the way down. Let's see, a little bit further. Yeah, about 3/4 of the way down. The schedule for the teams while at Spaceport. Thursday night, like to try to have as many teams as possible there by 5 p.m. And then I have a reservation at the bowling alley for. Initially, I put it in for 60. I think that's pretty accurate. We'll come up with number count here pretty soon. Friday, 8 a.m. That's when Scott Moore wants to start the inspections. Everybody with me there on the schedule down at the bottom? Everybody there?
Yeah.
Okay, Friday, October 11th, 8 a.m. to noon. That's when we're doing the UAV inspections. Welcome to set up at 7 a.m. So at noon, we will be done. Hopefully everybody's inspection goes good. I don't foresee a problem. I listed the teams there in order of the inspection. So my Richmond Burton team's already done this. Those kids have already been through this. They're going to go first. Then my community-based team, Rising Phoenix, going to go. And then my Perinautics team, the high school team, is going to go. Then Team Icarus, Team Stratohawk, and then Team Desert Rotor. You guys follow our lead when we do our inspection. just follow my lead and observe for those of you that have never been through aircraft certification process before. Trust me, it's not a big deal, but I don't want anybody to dig a hole for themselves. That's the number one reason why people fail check rides or fail inspections is because they dig their own hole. Don't dig your own hole. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh, yeah, you said, so the order that you just described is a little bit different than the launch schedule you have a little bit further below.
No. This is just for the inspection on Friday.
Okay, got it.
All right. Then from there at noon, we can, and I can add this into the web page here. At noon, or when as soon as the inspections are done, we'll run our day before launch checklist for the 3 teams that are going Saturday, and obviously the 3 teams that are going Sunday. Obviously, you guys can be a part of that just to see what's all entailed there, so that you guys can run your checklist on Saturday. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll make our way up to Spaceport. 3 o'clock, it takes about 40 minutes to get there from the hotel. 3 o'clock, they do about a 1-hour behind-the-scenes tour for us there. And then that'll also give us our time to set up our mission control at that time, too. We may even be able to head out to Spaceport a little bit earlier. I'm thinking head out to Spaceport maybe 1:30. So we'll have plenty of time to set up at Spaceport, set up our mission controls. Then I got us right across the street from the Holiday Inn. I got us set up for the Mexican restaurant. Again, I got us initially set up for 60 people at 6 o'clock on Friday night. And I'd like all teams to kind of get together. You guys mingle with the kids. I'm sure kids are going to have questions for you guys, especially Eric and Travis and Aaron and Devin and Joe. The kids might have some questions about your career path and all that kind of stuff, what it means to be an engineer and the whole 9 yards. 3 teams go Saturday, 3 teams go Sunday. Launch schedule is below. And the only reason why in the launch schedule I have the teams listed there the way they are is that's just our serial number and our registration numbers. Both those numbers need to be on the airplane. You guys can use a label maker or you can use a Sharpie. Just make sure that it's clearly identifiable to the FAA, that the FAA doesn't have to guess, is that an F or an 8? Make sure it's clearly identifiable. Any questions up to that point? Okay, I'm going to keep going on. Launch schedule Saturday. First team is my community-based team on Saturday, October 12th. It's Team Rising Phoenix, then Team Icarus, and then Team Perinautics. And those are all our launch windows. Sunday, Team Stratohawk. Eric, your team will be up first Sunday. Team Richmond Burton will go on Sunday. I know it looks like middle afternoon, but actually it's 9 o'clock in the morning. You start getting ready. And then Team Desert Rotor is after that. Any questions about the order of the teams?
Yeah, I have a few questions here. So the first question is, on Saturday, since we have 3 teams and a relatively aggressive schedule, if there is a contingency such that maybe a team doesn't make it back and they're still transmitting video and we have to do a recovery, I assume that would end up leading to a launch slip.
No, not at all. First of all, I got a couple comments there. We're separated on different frequencies. If you look at the each team is assigned a discrete frequency, so 1258 and 1280. So Team Rising Phoenix, and I got my screen really small here, but anyway, Team Rising Phoenix is 1258 megahertz. Team Icarus is 1280 megahertz. So let's say we go down a mile away from the launch site. That team will be responsible to go out in recovery. If we do have to go out and recover an airplane, the first thing, just like out at the flying site, is to disconnect everything. So disconnect your master key if you're using a master key, disconnect your battery, disconnect your power source, assuming that the airplane hasn't caught fire and burned up out in the desert somewhere. They do have four-wheel drive vehicle, and the fire department guys there are more than happy to take their four-wheel drive vehicle out four-wheeling in the desert. So it's not a problem getting to wherever you need to get. The other thing, we're on a discrete frequency, so if you go down, and I've operated both these frequencies at the same time with 2 separate transmitters all the way to 100,000 feet, and we did not get a single bleed over on either channel. So I have zero concern. The other thing is if you go down, and let's say we're on 1258 megahertz and you go down, because of the way, the nature of how our signals travel, the Earth is going to be blocking that signal. The farther away, the more it's going to be blocked. I hope we don't have any flat earthers here on the call, but by just the nature of the curvature of the Earth is going to block the signal, so we're duly protected there. So there's not going to be any issue at all. And again, the biggest issue with why we can't operate multiple teams at one time is video. The Dragon Link is discrete. It makes its own digital handshake through the ID.
Paul, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
Remembering a conversation that we had specific to the Dragon Link and the fact that a lot of people may be on the default ID, I believe there was conversations about issues.
Yeah,
We
so
want to make sure that everybody's got a different ID on their Dragon Link.
I would say I'm not going to say, I'm going to request that everybody change the ID at least once. Do it a second time, do it a third time if you've already done it. Change your ID, just follow the Dragon Link instructions on how to change your ID between your Dragon Link transmitter and your the Dragon Link receiver, and that will isolate us, because I've flown multiple Dragon Links out at the field. We've had 4, 5, 6 guys flying Dragon Link all at the same time with no problem. Everybody good with that?
Yeah, and I had a second question about the time. So since my slot is a 5 a.m. meet at Spaceport and then 6:30 a.m. launch UAV, the sunrise time is on that date going to be a little bit after 7 a.m.
Yep.
Means we're launching prior to sunrise.
You will have twilight.
Okay, so my hope and intent was to get some good videography of the ascent. With the drone, with a quadcopter drone, things like that. I believe the FAA allowance for that is half hour before sunrise. I think that's the number that's allowable.
Yeah,
right?
It will not be an issue for us at all out at Spaceport.
Okay.
Yep, not an issue at all.
Okay. I was a little bit concerned about the time. I mean, I assume there's going to be lights and stuff that we can use when we're doing all our prep from 5 a.m. to 6:30.
Oh, yeah. The area where we are, if you scroll down a little bit on that page, the mission control, we're operating out of the SOC. I think it's called their Station Operation Control. Or Travis, do you know what SOC stands for? It might just be Spaceport Operation Control. Anyway, we're operating out of that little building there, and you see if you scroll down a little bit, there is lights there. It's not completely dark. You'll see it's more than adequate for us.
And because we're the first ones going, and I mentioned we only have 3 of us actually in attendance, and therefore we'll probably need help from some other team or the students with our balloon.
Yeah. We'll definitely get you guys some of the students.
We'll have early risers to help us with some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'll be there the whole time for all these. For every single launch, I'll be there the whole time. It's not like I'm skipping out. And then we will definitely round up some kids to help with the balloon fill on Sunday morning. Probably the Team Richmond Burton kids will help.
Yeah, this is Travis with Team Icarus. I certainly can help as well.
Yep.
And one question to bring to you, Paul, when it does come to the balloon fill process, are you okay if the team manages itself and only gets help when they specifically ask for it?
Definitely. That's the way the intent of this was, that each team, when they're operating, is operating independently. Like, no other team should be helping. Now, with that said, if you see an obviously, like, something like, I'll just throw it out there as an example. Let's say you obviously noticed that the team forgot their video transfer or forgot to turn on their APRS system. Even though we're using the checklist and everything, let's say, Travis, you're like, oh my God, I don't think they turned on their APRS. Speak up to whoever the team lead is on that team and just say, hey, you guys, I think in that manner, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, as far as like balloon fill and stuff, that is completely up to each team. The big thing with, obviously, you know this, Travis, with the balloon fill is the balloons touching skin and getting oils from the skin or touching hair. So I do bring out a bunch of tarps and sheets to roll out for the for each team to utilize. But if you have something different that you want to utilize, that's perfect. That's completely up to you guys. And then the only time we will, somebody from another team will intervene is if you ask for help. We will not. I will make that clear that the kids' parents stay in a certain area and don't interfere, and just let each team do what they need to do. And if they need help, they'll speak up and ask for help.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's always, getting into these things, people see something and they want to jump in, but it can completely derail or cause other issues and damage things.
No, I totally get it. People have the intent of being helpful, but really their intent of being helpful is more in the way.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Yep. Eric, you good with that?
Great.
Devin, you good?
Sounds good.
All right. Kate, any questions so far?
Everything sounds good.
Okay. So since we made it here already, no questions about the launch schedule, I assume, guys. Everybody take a look. There's information there in the notes. Everybody has their discrete frequency to use. Make sure that you're operating on that discrete frequency, just because if we do happen to have any overlap, it shouldn't be an issue at all. Or in the case we go down off-site too. Anyway.
I don't know if it's the appropriate time to ask, but in terms of ground stations, so obviously I have my Dragon Link module and I'm setting up a tripod for it and everything. But for video, I have basically just two right-hand circular polarized 1.3 gigahertz antennas. Didn't have any directional antennas. I didn't have a diversity setup going on. This was just for testing, because I thought before it was you guys talked about that you had some other ground stations we could probably use.
Yes, so I have my ground station set up. I use a Gatling and I use a omnidirectional Mad Mushroom. I have the Eagle.
Right-hand polarized?
Right-hand polarized, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope nobody's bought any left-hand stuff. But anyway, Devin might be a different issue. Devin's team is kind of doing something a little bit different on the video side. But other than that, as long as you're using 1.3, my ground station is capable of diversity, and not only diversity, but it will also pump out to multiple monitors, and it can also pump out it takes the 1.3 signal, converts it to 5.8. So if we have 5.8 receivers in the area, they can also receive the signal. So it's not just strictly limited to 1.3. I can also, like I said, I have a video amplifier that pumps out to multiple TVs or monitors, and then also it can send out the 5.8, whatever 5.8 frequency you guys want to utilize. If you're utilizing goggles or whatever, it'll take the signal and convert it over to 5.8. Any questions there? So I guess, Eric, to answer your question, I've got a Gatling antenna. You're more than welcome to use it. And I also have a pepper box that if you wish to utilize in some fashion. If you go through the video...
Monitor? Do you have like a large monitor we can use?
I actually don't use monitors. I use old CRT TVs. So if you go back and if you look at the video from 2017, you'll see how we set up our mission control in that video. And you'll see we utilize the old CRT because the old CRT are analog, and they play much nicer with the analog signal that we receive versus a washed out image on a, and I do call it washed out. If you use any of the flat panel monitors that are out there today, and you take that analog and the TV converts it over to digital, in my opinion, it makes it look more cartoonish, more like a washed out image, I guess.
I'm just using like a handheld 7-inch screen
for
testing. but I didn't want to have to bring a large CRT or something with me. I was hoping to be able to use your CRT.
Yeah, the intent of this is if any team needs to utilize my mission control, you're more than welcome to use it.
Okay, great.
Travis, any questions at all? I think you guys are all set.
All set?
Devin, any questions at all on mission control?
Nope.
So, and then down, you guys will see, I kind of got us, obviously we can make adjustments to this as necessary, but down on the bottom of the web page, I have the layout of the area where we'll be operating at the SOC there. We got 3 doors on the west, 3 doors on the east. We can use the indoor area if we need to on the west side to fill our weather balloons inside if we need to. But I think we'll use the primary fill area just as long as the winds are nice and light. We don't have any weather issues. We'll use the area just right out in front of the east side as our fill area. I got Mission Control 1, Mission Control 2, Mission Control 3, each set up at a door. And then teams are listed there for each mission control, and you're welcome to set up obviously like on Friday, or we can set up on Saturday as well. My team, all my kids, I teach them how to set it all up and how to get it all running. My kids, I just tell them go, and mission control is set up in about 5 minutes. So
They have will they have work tables and things like that?
yeah, they'll have tables for us. In fact, how I've got the SOC laid out for us, I just put out what on our end, what is needed. You know, obviously the mission control tables set up by the door, what teams are operating there. You guys will see when we get there, they're going to have one bay will be completely cleared out so we can back in trucks like my U-Haul, the helium tanks and all that. So they'll have one bay all cleaned out for us so that we can pull vehicles in there. Not everyone's vehicles, obviously, just the vehicles that we need to be there. And then they'll have tables and chairs. I think I requested 60 chairs, and I think they're going to set up a dozen banquet tables, but don't quote me on that. Maybe it was 8. Anyway, they'll be set up in the SOC. Oh, and they're going to bring a food truck out for us too. We'll have food truck there on Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome.
Anything else?
The food truck is probably the absolute most important thing. We'll try otherwise.
Yeah. Yep. And Travis, I think, and Devin, Eric, everybody can set up their ground station, right? Because their ground stations aren't going to interfere with every mission. So let's say Travis sets up, let's see, Travis, your team goes Saturday morning. Or let's see, Team Stratohawk or Desert Road. Feel free to fire up your ground station and monitor or, receive the signal that we're pumping out, like when my Team Rising Phoenix is going. Because we can always use your stuff as a backup. Like let's just say something happens, a kid backs into the table and knocks the whole damn table over and destroys the monitor, and at least then we got you guys as a backup. We can, as long as they don't destroy the radio or something, or you guys know what I'm saying, right? Feel free to set up your station, but completely feel free to set up your station to monitor, make adjustments to your stuff based on what's happening. Like if you're like, okay, I want to adjust the monitor because it doesn't, use that time to make all those types of adjustments.
To be clear, my ground station is only going to be a single Mad Mushroom Omni connected to a 7-inch screen, for video at least. And then the second part of it is the Dragon Link portion of it on tripod. So it's rudimentary, but it will be there.
Yeah, no. Again, if you guys look and you guys are more than welcome, because we can obviously you guys are all welcome to utilize my Dragon Link if you need to, or set up the Dragon Link like I do. Look in the video from 2017 and you'll see that I get a 12-foot ladder from Spaceport. My Dragon Link is set up in a hard case box, and I literally take it up the ladder and duct tape it on the ladder with obviously the antenna orientated straight up. Take a look in the video, you'll see that big ladder in the video. And it's set out way in front of the sock so that there's no issue with the videos or with the control signal bouncing off the walls in the building or anything like that. And it's really just to get the maximum range out of it too. And the way we've set up our Dragon Link in the past, doing this where we set it up on the ladder, we've gone 90 miles out on Dragon Link. Now, it's 90 miles with a really, up at 100,000 feet. And I think our RSSI might have dropped down to like 80%. I mean, it wasn't even an issue. So you guys will see, feel free to utilize your Dragon Link in that manner. And if your Dragon Link isn't capable of being set up in that manner, we can always just rig your radio up to my Dragon Link. And actually, I use a repeater. So my Dragon Link is it uses a channel, and as long as you guys also, that's another thing, as long as you guys are using a channel, my Spectrum DX9 communicates with a remote receiver that's set up in that box, and then that remote receiver pumps the signal over to the Dragon Link and then transmits it out to the airplane. So you guys are more than welcome to utilize my Dragon Link, I guess is what I'm saying, just as long as you're under 8 channels. Any questions, Eric?
Paul, have you tried using a cable from the Dragon Link transmitter to your Spectrum controller?
Yeah,
before?
it's actually set up to do either way. So we can either wirelessly transmit to the Spectrum, or we can hard plug in directly. It's set up for either way. And I do have I do have a cable that's long enough. It's a 100-foot cable.
Okay. Do you notice any issue? Wow, 100 feet. Okay, that was my second question. Any issues with using that 100-foot cable? And I'm assuming that it's signal only because the power being delivered to the transmitter is in that box. Is that true?
Yeah, so the way I've got it set up, it's completely independent. So when you plug the power that is powering the Dragon Link, and I've got if you look in the safety checklist, you'll see a picture of my Dragon Link. It's a repeater station is what it is, the way I got it set up. But yes, it doesn't require any power from my radio at all. It's completely self-powered, and it's all grounded in its own box.
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Any other questions at all? So Eric, feel free. You're more than welcome to utilize whatever we got to utilize to get you up and running, and we'll have time to, or we won't have time, but we'll make it work. It shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you running for your antenna? Are you running like a long coax from your Dragon Link transmitter module, or is there a secondary module that's mounted up on top of that ladder?
No, so back at Mission Control, the kids are utilizing my DX9.
Yeah.
My DX9 then wirelessly transmits to a AR6600 Spectrum receiver. The AR Spectrum receiver then takes the signal and puts it out via PPM to the Dragon Link, and then the Dragon Link sends out to our UAV.
Oh, okay. I didn't think of it that way. I currently just wired to the back of my
back to your radio, yeah.
I have X9D into the module port, and then that goes to my the Dragon Link module that's sitting not too far away from the radio, and then that just has my long antenna mounted straight to the Dragon Link. I guess I'd have to see how your setup's a little bit different there.
Yeah, just look in the safety checklist.
All
There's
right.
pictures of my whole setup and the whole full description of how I got it set up in the safety checklist.
But effectively, you have a receiver repeater of sorts.
Exactly.
And that still sends through telemetry?
I am not utilizing telemetry. So you guys know that the Dragon Link is capable of sending telemetry back. This would be the first time that we have ever utilized that telemetry feature of the Dragon Link in this project type setting. I'm not happy with I am not happy with, so the way the system works is the Dragon Link receiver is taking the signal from your Dragon Link. When you utilize the telemetry feature, it eliminates the refresh rate, or somebody with a better electrical theory, maybe Devin or Travis, you guys can answer this more. It dumbs down your receive capability. So for instance, if you just have the Dragon Link hookup and you have the telemetry feature disabled, your controls move nice and smooth. If you have the telemetry, and you have to go into Dragon Link software and look at this. If you have the telemetry feature turned on in the Dragon Link and you have it turned on for long range, it's in the latest update that Mike put out for the Dragon Link. Watch what happens to your control surface movement with your servos. It dumbs down the reaction and the... I'm searching for the right answer, guys, but there's definitely a difference, and I didn't like it at all. I'm not... When we're dropping from 100,000 feet and you want that signal to recover the airplane out of the spin or the dive, I don't want to have this jittery, half-acting or half-responding control surface. So my team, our teams, we evaluated it, and I pretty much told the kids that we weren't going to use the telemetry feature. Even though we have those modules, we turned it off. Our telemetry is going to be strictly now based on the vector OSD and the APRS, and the as good as it is, as much as we can, we'll utilize also our dog collar tracker. Our tracking mode gives us a little bit of telemetry too. Does that sound good, guys? It's up to you guys. If you guys want to use that telemetry feature on the Dragon Links, knock yourself out, and I'll set you up for it if you need help, but we're not using it.
And I haven't tried this yet, but you're saying I could effectively use, say, an X4R or X8R outputting PPM to the Dragon Link as an input, and using that to basically connect by 2.4 from the radio inside the ground station. I'll have to. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the whole setup as I would implement it with what you're describing, to have the antenna on a tall ladder for more range.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a separate little separate deal. The way the telemetry works on Dragon Link is the actual receiver that's in your airplane is also a transmitter. It transmits back.
Sure. I was just talking about the repeater setup, not even worrying about the transmitter anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So the way the repeater sends that information is it Bluetooths it. So when you hook up your computer via Bluetooth to the Dragon Link transmitter, it then takes and puts your signal out onto. You can get it on what is the Mission Planner. And you have to do a little bit of monkeying around on Mission Planner, and that's all it really gives you. Is it gives you a moving map type display is the useful feature, and other than that, it gives you airspeed or ground speed. It gives you some information, but it's nice to have. Would I love to have it? Sure. Am I happy with the functionality of it? No. So that's why we're not using it.
No. But I'm speaking about transmitting, not the telemetry anymore, but. From my radio, currently I'm just plugged into the the module in back,
yeah.
module. But the way you have it set up, it sounds like is instead of something into an expansion port, you're going over 2.4 to a receiver that's pumping out PPM to the Dragon Link.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Take a look in the safety checklist,
Right.
Eric. It's completely described in there.
A path I haven't tried before, and I have to trust it before I did that. That's all.
Yep, take a look. Scroll through the safety checklist. You'll see it. It's spelled out in there in the safety checklist on page number, and I'll pull this up for you in the video so you have it. It is page. It's in there multiple times too, so you can't miss it. So I know for sure it's definitely on page. Oh, let's see here, guys. Hang on. The ground station is described on page 20, and you'll see that everything is labeled, described, and then under page 20, it's everything is described there. Any questions from there, guys? Eric,
We're good.
You good? Travis, you good?
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it's. I would not advise unless you're going to be outside. But if you're in the SOC operating, I would not advise just your Dragon Link piggybacked on the back of your radio is not going to be a good setup. I guess is the moral of the story here. Any questions? I'm going to move on then. All right, in the safety checklist, we just barely training manuals. All right, so operating. Trust me, we eliminated some stuff by going through that here. That's at the end of this, so we actually made progress on stuff. Number 3, training manuals and documentation. If any application states the crew members will complete a safety program, then applicants must provide documentation that shows crew members have successfully completed all necessary training. We'll verify that on site. The training manuals, you guys, this is what I do with the students. My Richmond Burton team kids have been through this before. I think there's maybe only one kid on the team, or no, there might actually be a couple kids, but they've all been through the workbook that I put out there for the kids. You guys, I'll send you a link. You guys being professionals in this, you guys are already going to know the information that I have in the workbook. I will send you guys each a copy of the workbook. And you guys look through the workbook. There's nothing in there that you guys being professionals, you guys are going to look through it and be like, okay, this is, it's basically just basic aerodynamics, basic electrical theory, weather winds aloft, how to use weather to make it and evaluate a decision to conduct a mission, and some information on how to fill a weather balloon. And I think that's really about it. So that's what the FAA uses to buy off as our safety program. Any questions there at all?
So, Paul, will we be questioned on any of those items?
No, it's just going to be, I think the way Scott addressed this last time was I provided the copy of the workbook to him at the site during the inspection, and he took like about 10 seconds to thumb through it, and he basically said, this is great information, move on. Yeah, he didn't even blink an eye over that part of it.
Okay, thank you.
You guys will see it's a non-event type thing. Exemption and waivers, applicants must establish the proposed operation will comply with the pertinent operating regulations. Verify on site. Again, guys, this is where I keep hammering. Go through the safety checklist if you haven't. Read through it. Read through the safety checklist in the program letter. The exemption and waivers. You guys got to be familiar with what are our limitations that dictate whether or not we can do a launch. If you go through the safety checklist, go through your program letter, and then in addition to that, the checklist that I keep hammering about, like the day before launch risk analysis checklist, the day of launch checklist, the actual UAV checklist, blah, 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 that hits a lot of what they're talking about here in 7. So it won't be an issue at all for us, but just I need you guys to definitely read through the document called the safety checklist, and I need you to read through your program letter, and then obviously develop your own checklist or additional items on the checklist. Feel free to add your own additional items. These are the personal checklists that you use at the event. My RV jet checklist might be different than Travis's track checklist, and it might be different from Devin's track checklist, but just be using checklists. Does that make sense, guys? Eric, you good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Travis, good? Devin, you good?
Yes.
All right.
All good. And you're going to deliver the Word version, updated Word version, both by email and on the group. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I got it in my notes here to do this as soon as we get off the call.
Cool. Thank you, Paul.
Yep. Alternate marking approval letter. If the aircraft is of unusual size or shape, cannot be marked. You guys, that's all that number 8 is saying, is make sure your airplane is marked with your serial number and your registration number. Both those need to be on the aircraft. So for instance, Team Icarus is UAV 006 and it's FA3. I don't know, I got my screen real small here so I can't really make it out, but make sure those items are on your aircraft, and they can be, you can write them in there with a marker or permanent marker, or you can use a label maker and attach it to the airplane. Either way is acceptable. Any questions about number 8? All right, moving on. Flight test plan if necessary. Not applicable. Number 10, safety evaluation, action items. That's all done already. Once special airworthiness certificate is issued, the applicant should submit at the discussion supporting document list above the original certification, subsequent, blah, blah, blah. What he is talking about there is, let me see. That is going to be the actual, so when we're sitting there, you guys, during the inspection, he's going to fill out the actual certificate form, the 8130.34 form, and your UAV will actually get an experimental aircraft certificate. And so that's all. It's really just number 11 is really just a note for him, and that he will complete that on site. Number 12 is not applicable. 1381 for original and recurrent certification of file items was prior. That is not applicable, I think, or informative only. Going on to the next page of this. Number 14. Let me read what number 14 is here. I kind of cut it off. Aircraft registration, review documentation provided by applicant. I already did that, you guys. I registered everybody's UAV already. Technically, to make this easier, under my UAS profile with the FAA, that's where all the serial numbers and the registration numbers were generated. So I already have all that documentation. You guys don't need to worry about that at all. I will make sure that I print that all ahead of time. Really, it's just the documentation from the site where you register your UAV. So 14 doesn't apply to you guys. It will apply to you guys there, but it's just something more for me to print off before we get there. 8130-6, that's for him. Again, that's going to be just FAA paperwork stuff for this. Program letter for each aircraft. I have that. I will print everybody's program letter, so that's on me. That's not for you guys. And please, as I'm going through this, if somebody has a question, just chime in. Feel free to interrupt me. Say, Paul, I got a question or whatever. I'm just trying to get through this, that we're not spending our whole Sunday afternoon on this. Maintenance records, if necessary. Review the maintenance records, determine that condition inspection and any other required inspections has been accomplished. That's number 18. All right, guys. Number 18, if you go in your Word document that I sent you guys this morning, or the PDF that I sent you, and let me get my PDF opened here. I had it open, I closed it. Everybody go to the conference call letter that I sent you guys this morning. Everybody there on the conference call letter, it should be page number... All right, scroll down to, it's page number 6, where it says, I certify that this UAS was inspected. Do you guys see that?
Yep.
All right. Everybody there? Eric, you there? Travis, you there? Devin, you there?
Yes.
All right, guys. You're going to need to just get a little notebook. Just a small notebook. These are the inspections that you guys will need to do. One is called A1 and the other one is IC2. I print these off as a sticker. You guys can write it out. I prefer doing it as a sticker because the FAA gets super funky with wording. If you forget to dot an I or forget to cross a T, that's the kind of stuff that the FAA never hangs you up on physical stuff. In the airplane, they hang you up. 90% of what the FAA hangs you up on is wording and documentation. So I certify that this UAS was inspected on blank date, so that's to fill in a date, in accordance with the scope and detail of the maintenance and inspection program, and was determined to be in a condition for safe operation. The next one is I certify this UAS was inspected on blank date in accordance with maintenance and was determined to be in condition. Okay, so those are just stickers. They're a repeat of each other. They're just, you can print those out as a sticker format. Feel free, whatever you guys want to, size them, what's appropriate or whatever. The maintenance program is as described below. Physical airframe inspection is A1. If you go through, all items should be in good working order and securely attached to the UAV prior to flight. So just go through that. That is your inspection schedule and your corrective action if you find something is wrong with your UAV. Again, guys, it's good, I guess, to have, but for our purposes, guys, this is really, it gives the FAA a warm, fuzzy feeling, let's put it that way, that we have a maintenance program. So maintenance, the physical airframe inspection is referred on your sign-off as inspection A1. IC2 is the internal system inspection. I already see a correction I got to make. I got to change that IC2 to IS1, not IC2, IS1. Anyway, I'll change that, guys. I'll fix that. Don't worry. Internal system, and then you go through that, and that's your internal inspection. Did you guys all see? I think I sent it off in one of the emails. A picture of what our logbooks look like and how you do your logbook. I think I sent that. I'm sorry, I should have included it in this document, but has everybody seen? I think I sent you guys all a picture of what our maintenance logbooks look like. Eric, are you good?
I need to start this logbook, and I'm trying to find it here. Did you send it on Messenger or did you email it?
I think I sent it, but just a lot of times to make sure you guys get the information, I send it in Messenger.
Okay. I see it. I have the email for it. Okay.
Yeah, either Messenger or in the email. And it should be several pictures of like the logbook and what it looks like and what the sign-off looks like. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
And then I would say, like Team Icarus, you guys have already been flying. Go ahead and backdate your maintenance logbook. It's actually two logbooks. It's your maintenance logbook and your flight logbook. So feel free to backdate it. So let's say you flew like 5 days ago or whatever, put that date in, and then just the sticker with you guys prior to the flight, you guys completed the inspection, and then whatever notes, just like a logbook, just say we flew the UAV for. As remarks, you can just write, we flew our UAV for a total of 15 minutes, made adjustments to our flight controls, blah, 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 safe takeoff, safe landing, blah, blah, blah. That's it, just whatever you guys want to put in the remarks. But the main thing is the FAA wants to see, and like I said, we're combining both a maintenance and a flight logbook all into one. Usually in the real world, those are two separate documents, but the FAA is completely happy for this purpose of having one document. Any questions about that? You guys, please utilize those photos that I sent to replicate your logbook. Eric, we good? Eric's good. Travis, you good?
Yep.
Devin, you good?
Yes.
Again, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right, getting our way through this stuff. There's no ADs. 18 we just talked about. We're on to number 19, maintenance inspection. If necessary, the maintenance inspection pro has been reviewed and accepted by airworthiness. Not applicable. We didn't have to. What that's just saying is, if you look in the safety checklist or the program letter, there's no mention of a maintenance program, and you'll see, I forget how I worded it, but the FAA bought off on it. That because the scope of what we're doing, no maintenance program was needed to exist. Anyway, that's how the FAA bought off on that. Self-certifying statement of compliance with maintenance program. If 20. So 20 is what I just described. 20 is what I just talked about. So I don't think, sometimes, a lot of times in the FAA wording here, they get redundant with their things that they want to have, and some of the stuff just isn't applicable to how we're doing it. So anyway, the way we've got it set up, the FAA is completely happy with. So just follow the maintenance inspection program, or not program, but follow the maintenance inspections that you need to do prior to each flight. Log it in the logbook, log the flight in your logbook, and have, I think our last time we went, I think our airplanes each had 4 or 5 flights on them, so the FAA was completely happy with that. There's no ADs on our stuff. Verify on site. Don't worry about that, guys. I'll take full responsibility for that. There's no airworthiness directives on any of our UAVs. Weight and balance report. Again, guys, that's what I talked about earlier. Come there ready to demonstrate that your UAV falls within weight and balance. It's not a big, or falls within CG. Not a big deal. Inspection or technical data. Review and inspect technical data needed to establish conformity of type of design. 23. Again, that might just be performance data on your airplane. I think I will provide this to you guys because I don't think I have. We did a specific flight where we determined like stall speed, max endurance speed, some other information. It's not a big deal to generate the data, guys. You can do it when you're out flying one day. And I'll supply that to you. I don't expect you guys to take your airplane to a full stall, and because I don't want anybody to trash their airplanes. I think most of you are probably aware of the slow flight characteristics of your airplane. So for instance, Travis, if you're flying the DRAC and let's say, like 20 knots, you just really notice it's starting to get mushy. And if you put any bank into it, it's going to want to go into a spin. Just don't take your airplanes to a full stall spin. Cause like I said, I don't want anybody to trash their airplane if they can't recover. Just hack it, for the documentation. Just write the approximate stall speed of the airframe, and our configuration is 20 knots. And I got notes here to send that to you guys. Really, it's not a big deal. In fact, I could probably compile it for everybody, no problem, but let me add it here to our notes. That's number was that? 23. I'll have further information for you guys, and I'll get it out to you. 24. That is informative only. At the time of certification, aircraft control station, data link equipment, and other associated elements must reflect the configuration status. That's where he's going to ask. So in 24, they're going to ask you to power on your airplane. I would suggest props off, obviously, you guys, while the inspection's going on. Power on the airplane, and they're going to ask you to demonstrate the flight controls, demonstrate the ground station use, demonstrate just an all-out demonstration of the aircraft other than it flying. Just that everything works as advertised. The aircraft markings are in accordance with Part 45 or Part 48. Again, that's going to be just the the serial number and the registration number being on the aircraft. Instruments are properly marked. All measurements should be expressed in English language. Yeah, don't use meter, guys. Meters. I know we use meters for our. Oh, I saw Devin had to jump off the call. Anyway, don't do anything in meters. Keep it all in English units. I think that's what that's saying there. Data link connectivity. Control link check should all be accomplished with backup control station if one exists. If the system configuration permits, check the following. The flight controls operate properly. Engine propeller associated instruments operate properly. Instrument gauges. So just demonstrating that the airplane works. Any questions about that, Travis or Eric?
So demonstrating that the airplane works, looking at gauges, I mean, are they anticipating to look at our ground station setups?
Yes.
And making sure we got good telemetry?
Yep, exactly. And I know obviously we're going to be in the conference room and, we're probably not going to get your GPS signal, but that's what he accepted last time, was just turning it on, making sure you got a video signal, your Dragon Link works as advertised, everything works as advertised basically.
Do they want us to spin up our motor in there with the prop on?
No. So that's why I said prop off, because this is a safety issue, obviously. Prop off, and you're just going to demonstrate that the motor works, obviously, without the prop on. And that is completely, trust me, so with the FAA, anytime you demonstrate that you're being safe, it's like, I mean, if you go in there and just start yelling safety, 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 they're completely happy. It makes them happy anytime they hear the word safety. So yeah, props off. Going on through here, 8130, 34, chapter 3, section 4. I think that's not information only. That's more for Scott. That's not for us. Review operating limitations with the applicant. Ensure the requirements and procedures are understood. Number 34. We'll do this upon inspection. Again, that's our risk analysis checklist, guys, and how we determine if we're good to launch our airplanes the next day. And I'm sure if you guys look through the program letter and the safety checklist, you'll see the limitations are spelled out in there for high winds, for reduced visibility. If it's raining, the limitations are spelled out. Number 36, that is for Scott. That's not for us. That's when he actually issues the certificate. 37, 38 is all for Scott. Nothing there. And 39 and 40 those are all for Scott. So that pretty much will wrap up the inspection. You guys will see it's not a big deal. Just follow our lead when we do our inspections on Friday morning. Any questions, Travis or Eric?
No.
Or go ahead, Eric, first.
No, that was no questions.
Travis, any?
We have rocket powered assist. Can we test that inside the car?
Ah, yeah. Yep. Do you guys really have anything rocket powered on there?
No, just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun though. Okay, so even though the FAA is not there on Saturday or Sunday, probably a little bit, and I'm going back into the Word document here about our call agenda. Discuss the responsibility on me of not having the FAA present Saturday or Sunday. So the FAA is being really cool in giving me the authority to oversee this for everybody. So with that being said, it's nice not to have the FAA there breathing down our necks, watching every little thing we do. Although last time they were there, they were spectacular. They had nothing but supportive stuff to say the whole time there. Let's not take any shortcuts, guys, and don't, obviously, just because the FAA is not there, don't treat this like we're just out at the flying field throwing our airplanes up into the air to go fly. A little bit more, safety cautious, and a little bit more use the checklist, because it's really going to stink if you launch your airplane without like let's say you're recording high definition video or something and you forgot to turn on the high definition video or whatever. Just make sure that we utilize our checklist, no shortcuts, and do it just as if the FAA was there watching us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Any questions there? All right, going on. Go through the schedule on the website. We did that. Walk through the setup area. We did that. Walk through weather briefing and flight planning. All right, guys, real quick, I guess. Does anybody have any questions about the weather briefing or the flight planning process of this? You guys all good with have Eric and Travis, have you guys been messing around with the prediction software?
No, I was messing with it. I mean, not much you can do with it, really. I mean, it's our takeoff weight, right, and target altitude and where we drift to, right?
Yeah, so let's do this. If you guys go to the STEM Plus C webpage, we'll do this real quick together here. Go to the STEM Plus C webpage and then click on the link at the top for Weather Winds Aloft. And then after you click the link for Weather Winds Aloft, go ahead and click on the prediction website. Travis, you there? Travis, you there? All right, Travis is still there. Eric, you're there, right? Travis,
Yeah.
mute. Okay, Eric, you're still there. All right, so does everybody have spaceports saved already? If you don't, in the latitude, longitude box, just type in latitude. It's 32.9941. And then in longitude box, it's minus 106.9746. And it should take you to spaceport.
Do you remember what our launch altitude is there?
Yeah, it's 1,401 meters. So 1,400 meters is fine. All right, Eric, you there?
Yeah, I'm.
Travis, you on that same same spot there in the prediction?
Yes.
All right. So once you get the latitude and longitude in there, go over to the Use Burst Calculator. For our payload mass, we're just going to assume, let's assume a payload mass of 3,700 grams. So that payload mass under there is everything under your balloon. So for instance, let's say your DRAC weighs 3,000 grams fully loaded. I'm just using this as an example, battery and everything. And then the harness system is another 700 grams. So it's basically everything from under the neck of the balloon is your payload mass. It's how much weight the balloon is towing up. Am I clear? Travis says you understand that, right? Obviously, Travis, you know that. Eric, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. K-Mont balloon, I assume everybody's using the K-Mont 3000. So you, in the burst calculator, that's where I'm at right now. Everybody got, I'm sorry if I went forward here. Everybody clicked on Use Burst Calculator.
Yep.
All right, payload mass 3,700 grams. Let's just assume everything under the balloon is 3,700 grams. We're using a K-Mont 3,000 gram balloon. Now, where it says then you select target burst altitude or a target ascent rate, we're not selecting a burst altitude. So you can delete that. And when you delete it, you're going to get an error message. It's going to say must specify at least one value. The value we're going to specify is a 6 meter per second climb rate. And once you put 6 meters per second in, it's going to give you a burst altitude, a time to burst, a launch volume. Everybody there with me? Travis, you there? Eric, you there?
Yeah, I already ran it. The line after the burst itself isn't really meaningful to us. It's just the burst that we're concerned about.
Yeah, well, just stick with through. You're a little bit ahead of me, but you're going to see what I'm talking about here, Eric.
Okay.
Everybody should be just in the burst calculator right now, right? Does everybody see the under launch volume? It's 10.10 meters cubed, 1,000 or let's see, 10,104 liters, 356.8 cubic feet. That's how much helium we're going to need to get that performance out of the balloon. Is everybody with me there?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to click use those values, and you'll see when you click use values, it's going to dump in an ascent rate of 6.5 meters per second because of the way it averages out your climb rate based on the climb performance of the balloon. Do you see that in the field there in burst altitude, it populated at 34,273 meters as our burst altitude? That's not important to us. What's important to us, that's where the balloon is going to burst. We want to release. We don't want to burst. So we're going to overwrite that 34,000 and we're going to put 30,000 meters in there because that is approximately 100,000 feet. So you're going to overwrite burst altitude and put 30,000 meters in there. We don't care. After the balloon burst, we don't care about the drift down, the descent rate. So what I put in there is just 10,000 meters, just a 10,000 meters per second descent rate. I'm then going to click run the prediction, and I ran that. I just kept the populated date in there of 22nd of September and at 2037. And everybody should get a profile where you see the balloon takes off kind of east-northeast, goes out over the mountain range there, and then bursts somewhat on the west side of the mountain range. Does everybody have that same profile?
Yep.
So we're in the restricted airspace today.
Yeah, we're well in the restricted airspace. So that's how you run that prediction website.
Paul, can you remind us really quickly what the limiting longitude is that we can't pass?
Yeah, so the limiting longitude, and I'll pull that up here on my, hang on guys, I got the restricted airspace on my iPad here. I just got to pull it up real quick. It is, I'll screenshot this for you guys and send it to you as well. Hang on 1 second, let me get over to Spaceport. Okay, so based on what I see there in that prediction, we are well within the confines of the restricted airspace. We have all the way to, let me zoom out on this. We have basically all the way to west 106 degrees. So west, based on looking at the prediction website here, I know obviously it doesn't give that to you, but west 106 is to, if you look at,
That's like Alamogordo.
yeah, if you look at like, I'm trying to match up the range here. You see where it says Three Rivers to the east of Spaceport America to the, you see where White Sands is there, right? That big blotch of white sand there.
Yep.
Okay, 106 degrees west is basically just to the west of Highway 54 there. So Highway 54 goes pretty much north and south.
Yep.
106 degrees is, I'll call it, based on what I see here, about 8 to 10 miles to the west of Three Rivers. So based on our climb, our ascent, and what you guys see there in the prediction, we will be, based on that, we would be more than in the restricted airspace. It wouldn't be a problem. In fact, we're based on that climb profile, we would be like on the western edge of what we're authorized for. Any questions on how to use the prediction website? Eric, you good?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to have very similar results.
We are. The only thing that's going to differ is vehicle
The launch
weights.
time. Oh, the vehicle weights and the launch time. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Eric, any questions there at all?
Nope.
Travis, any questions?
Nope, we're good. Just a quick FYI, Jonathan, one of our teammates, he may not be there. So in terms of weather and performing this particular activity, we'll designate to another person on our team.
Yeah, you know, and the other thing too, you guys, just the checklist usage and the determining of whether we're within the restricted airspace and all that, we're going to do this all as a group. Obviously, each team can do it on their own as their own team, but we will all do this as a group too, and evaluate. You know, we can look over each other's shoulder as each team is doing their own numbers, and you'll see it'll be more of a group activity. It's not this whole part of it, the weather, the winds aloft, and determining whether or not it's going to be an open discussion thing. Like at dinner, we'll probably be, everybody, I'm sure guys will bring their laptops or their iPads or whatever. We'll do this stuff at dinner. It's going to be a big deal for all of us. So, and obviously this is a very visual way of taking a snapshot of what we can expect. So, I don't see any problems with the walkthrough of the weather briefing and the flight planning. We're going to be doing this as all 6 teams together. And I'll when we do this, I'll take the lead too. And if, like, obviously, Travis, if you guys have additional items for your team, you guys feel free to run those additional items. And if you have suggestions, like as I'm walking us through the weather, winds, or the weather and the prediction stuff, if there's something that needs to be discussed, we'll discuss it. Any questions, you guys? All right, with that said, we'll move on. Progress from each team, test flight, logging each flight, upload to YouTube on your channel. We're going to maiden 1, possibly 2 airplanes tonight from my community-based team and my high school team. The Richmond Burton team, they just sent their airplane out here. We're going to do all the flight testing for the Richmond Burton team. Those kids have done this already, so to go out and maiden their airplane for the first time is not something new for those kids, so it's not like they're missing out on something here. Travis,
so you'll do the flight log for us at Richmond Burton?
Yeah. In fact,
Okay,
I'll even put together your guys' maintenance logbook for you, the maintenance and flight logbook. That's not a problem at all. Though Eric and Jake and Nick and all those kids, they've already done all this. They totally, there's no question they don't understand it.
Yeah. Oh, can I go back 1 sec? So
Yeah.
one other thing that struck me was, what if these new K-mount balloons are kind of a bust? Do we have just one more balloon among us that's not that latest version?
Yeah.
I'm going to call it the TX3000.
Yeah, so I ordered 3 of those. That's a good question. I ordered 3 of those, so I do have an extra balloon. Every team has ordered their own balloons. I ordered 1 extra balloon. So with that said,
Oh wait, I thought you wanted us to wait to order them. When are we ordering these balloons?
no, go ahead. I think I sent out an email probably about 10 days ago that each team go ahead and order in one of the emails I sent out. I think I said go ahead and order your balloons. I know, Kate, you guys ordered your balloon, right?
Yeah, we sent it to your house.
Yep, and I know Travis's team ordered. You guys have your balloon, right?
Correct. We have a backup that's semi-trustable.
Yeah, and I have a backup too. So if we have any issue with a team that, something happens to their balloon or somebody steps on it or breaks, or if we have any issue, we do have a backup balloon to use. So
So my
Eric,
intention was
okay.
just that if
Okay, I'll
those,
go over it now.
Oh, hang on, Eric. Let's get Kate. Go ahead.
my intention was just that if those, for some reason, that new version that they came out with, if it was a bust and we all had them, then no one's going to hit the 100,000 foot challenge. But it sounds like we have a little diversity.
Yeah. So the only comment I'd make there is the balloon. I would assume that if Kmart selling them, because they sell to the National Weather Service and they also sell to the military, that the balloon is full. Like they would not put out a balloon that was defective in some way, or at least I would hope that they didn't. So I would say that the balloon is very well tested before they put it out there. Although to your point, there's always the possibility of a manufacturing defect with a balloon. So that's why we have an extra one. And the only difference with these new balloons and the old balloons is these have a water resistant type coating on them, and it's supposed to prevent the balloons from icing up as they climb to altitude. They don't necessarily perform any better. They just they have a layer that is supposed to resist moisture buildup on them so that they don't build up any ice if they happen to go through clouds, which should not be an issue for us because it's out in the driest time, one of the driest times in the year for that area. So we shouldn't even, cloud cover shouldn't even be a factor for us. Shouldn't. Anyway, any other questions about that at all, guys?
Did you say there was a discount code for it?
Yeah, I sent it in that email or in the messenger. It's only $15 off, so it's not like if you ordered, like Travis, I know they ordered their balloon early. It's a $15 off. It's not a whole lot.
I think it's SJ19 for like Strato Journey 19.
Let me try it. The uppercase SJ19.
All right.
The
So you
HAB
guys,
3000, right? It's the HAB 3000.
it should be the HAB 3000. If is the regular one, the HAB 3000 TX is the new balloon.
Okay, well that's 100 and something more.
Yep.
Yeah, 430 versus 360.
Yep. Yeah, feel free. I have never used the TX before, but we've launched the HAB 3000s, probably a dozen or so of those balloons, and never had any notable or remarkable something.
Yeah,
remarkable.
we'll go with the regular one.
Okay.
But I don't think the coupon code is good for this one.
No, the coupon code is only for the TX.
Okay.
All right, moving on. The release mechanism. Again, it's in that I sent pictures. That is our release in the conference call agenda here. The pictures there, that is how we set up our RV jets. It's a non-mechanical release. And just make sure, guys, I don't know if anybody's using a mechanical release. This release system that we've used, we've not only used it on this airplane type thing, the kids have used it in other projects too. We did do mechanical releases in the past, and I think Jake Minker I saw was on the call. I think Jake Minker can probably remember back when some years ago when we did servo release type things or mechanical release type things, they tend to not work as well as non-mechanical. There's failure points. Anyway, so just make sure that, I guess what I'm trying to say here is if you have a setup like mine where we're just using nichrome wire to melt a central attach point, send me pictures, you guys, or send me YouTube of your release mechanism working. I just want to look it over real quick. The worst thing to have happen here at this thing is to have your airplane get up to 100,000 feet and have a problem releasing. Anyway, That's all I got to say about that. There's some things we can try to do if you do have a mechanical release system to free the airplane. But at 100,000 feet, when you try to fire up the prop to try to wiggle yourself out of the harness, your prop doesn't do a whole lot. And wiggling flight controls doesn't do a whole lot. So anyway, any questions about the release system, guys? I think each team is developing their own release system. No questions.
Yep. Paul, this is so for Team Icarus, we do actually have a mechanical release system.
Okay.
And we're designing the system such that we can descend even if the release mechanism fails.
Okay.
This includes the ability for us to spin up a prop and maintain powered flight, although obviously maintaining the tether to the remnants of the neck of the balloon will create some drag. We're putting that after the CG, so it'll fly funky. But the way that we've designed things is such that it should work. Is there anything in the program letter that we need to point out during the FAA inspection, or just have a well-documented and demonstrated capability of the release mechanism?
I think I would default that way, Travis. I think if you did something that is different from what is spelled out in the program letter or the safety checklist, I would say to, however you want to document that. However you want to document that, I think it'll be fine. Just make sure that whatever system you got it works. Or you have a backup if it doesn't work, I guess is good too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be able to explain all our thought process and our workarounds that allow the aircraft to continue flying.
Yep. All right, let's keep moving on, guys.
We'll have a video. We'll have a video of our release demonstration. So nitrogen wire based, burning a string that's going through 3 points of contact on the aircraft.
Yep.
So we'll demonstrate that.
Yep, that's great. If you guys want, I don't know if you've seen on our YouTube, we have demonstrated, just like what Travis and you were talking about. We have on the YouTube channel, we've got our demonstrated release, and obviously all our projects that we've ever done with this kind of system, obviously it's well demonstrated, well tested, and works 100% of the time. We've never had one not detach using this system. All right, so we got our UAV, we got our balloon, and then we got our harness system. You guys all understand you're going to have to develop a way to harness the airplane to the balloon. We have a system where we utilize a carabiner clip that is a large carabiner clip that is attached to the throat of the balloon. It's also documented in the aviation safety check, or the safety checklist. It's at the end of the safety checklist, and it does illustrate how we do attach our harness to the balloon, and that harness system is in the safety checklist on page number, it helps if I'm in the safety checklist. You know what? It may be in the, there it is. It's on page 78 of the safety checklist. It describes how we attach from the weather balloon with a carabiner clip, and then how that carabiner clip interacts with the harness. So again, guys, look on page, and page 78 of the safety checklist has a full description of that. Any questions, guys? I think, Travis, you should be good. You guys have done this many times before. Eric, any questions about tethering your harness to the balloon?
We have I guess I just have to think about it a little. I'll look at what you did, but
yep.
We're gonna have that little payload canister attached to the balloon as well. By the way, I mentioned that before. That little RF experiment.
Yep.
So that's going to be attached to the balloon separately from the aircraft. hanging down, I guess, or attached to the same tether that the rest of the aircraft is on.
Okay.
But
No, that sounds good. The one thing I would say on page 78, Travis, you can back me up on this too. On page 78 in there, you'll see there's a picture of an RV jet dangling under a weather balloon. You'll see that the harness is directly connected to the carabiner under the weather balloon. And I think for our 3 teams, we're actually going to not directly connect the harness to the carabiner. We're going to connect the harness and then probably 30 feet or so of mason line, and then connect to the carabiner. We're going to give ourselves some room there, because what happened last time at Spaceport, where we pendulumed up into the balloon, if we drop the airplane down quite a bit more, it'll adjust our center of mass with that whole setup between the balloon and the RV jet, such that if we do hit turbulence, it shouldn't, the airplane will still pendulum, but it shouldn't be able to pendulum in such a way that it would actually go through the balloon again and destroy the balloon and have to do an early release. Anyway, take a look at how we tether the airplane to the balloon there on page 78 in the safety checklist. Any other questions, guys?
What's the throat of the balloon look like? Because I'm looking at your, I think it's page 48, your safety checklist.
Yep.
And you have, it appears what's that black thing? Like what's inside the throat?
Okay, so that thing inside the throat, that was, this was a balloon that we used several years ago in one of our first projects. And they had, I don't remember what that mechanism was inside the throat of the balloon back then. We don't, I guess if you want, I'll update the picture on what one of our balloons looks like when we tether. I'll write a note here to send a new picture.
Is it just tied off like a party balloon?
Yeah, it's tied off like a party balloon. What we do is, if you look at that picture there, the throats on these are about, I don't know, I'll say 12 to 15 inches long. Once you get the balloon filled and you pull it off, like we use PVC, 2-inch PVC to fill these balloons, and I'll have all that equipment there. You guys don't need to worry about the hoses and stuff to fill the weather balloons. I'll have all that. We basically take the throat, we tie it off, and then we double it over on itself, and then tie it again. And we use electrical tape to secure the doubling over of the throat, and then we secure it with a zip tie. And then from there under, you can see in that particular picture, we used a plastic or a vinyl ring that was attached to the carabiner. We don't even use that vinyl ring anymore. We just simply attach the carabiner directly to the folded over throat of the balloon.
Yeah, we can loop the carabiner right through the...
Yeah, you loop it right through.
Yeah, okay. That works.
Any questions there, guys? All right, moving on. Head count from each team. I'll send out an email this week. I need a head count from each team, and I need a total head count from each team, so I know for dinner reservations and for Spaceport, because they want a rough idea of how many people are going to be present. Then in addition to that, I'm also going to request a head count for t-shirts, because the t-shirts are going to go in on the 23rd, and the t-shirts are going to have the sponsors on the back, and I'll probably downsize the logo on the front just slightly. So the t-shirts, the way we'll utilize the t-shirts is, obviously you can wear them at Spaceport. My 3 high school teams, on the day that my high school teams all have polo shirts. On the day that they operate, they wear their polo shirt. On the day that they don't operate, they wear their t-shirt, is how I'm doing that with the kids, so that the sponsors at least get their name out there at the event. So I'll send an email for head count and for t-shirt head count, how many t-shirts we need. Live stream and social media for each team. I'd like to have 2 live streams going, and we'll get some of the kids from the high school to, I think we'll have 2 streams going. We'll have a mission control stream going, and then we'll also stream the video that is streaming back from the airplanes. We'll stream that live video. So we'll have 2 streams. We'll have a stream from mission control, and we'll have a stream from the FPV view of the airplanes, just like if you've seen a SpaceX launch, very similar to how they do it. Any questions about that at all, you guys?
So all the sponsor logos that we're wearing are sponsors that supported my team in what way? Paying for the helium?
So the sponsors are all the sponsors on the Straddle Journey website. So if you go to the Straddle Journey website,
Trying to
and
figure out how those funds are being utilized that in a way that helps our team to pay for the helium.
yeah, so the way that they've, so some of these have supported us either like Insta360 supplied our team with a camera. Scott Forge supported the Richmond Burton team in a very large monetary way. The Rotary in Richmond Grove, these were sponsors that sponsored these teams either with a substantial sponsorship. It wasn't just a $10 or $100 sponsorship. It was upwards, to that $500. It was $500 in sponsorship, either merchandise, or they purchased a $500 sponsorship, or like Ready Made RC supplied everybody with that 10% discount code. Although I know you can get a 10% discount code from Ready Made RC.
I wanted from them was always out of stock. So
yeah. So anyway, that's so all the logos that you guys see there on the Straddle Journey webpage, these are all the big dollar sponsors that contributed to make this happen.
Okay, but I guess I'm trying to clarify here because my team is pretty much all self-funded by me. That if I'm wearing a logo of another company, I need to kind of understand in what way they supported my team. I know they're enabling you guys.
Eric, let me jump in really quickly. This is Travis at Team Icarus. So we're the same situation. I mean, we did a tiny bit of fundraising on our side.
Tiny bit.
The way that I perceive this is awesome. This is us supporting Paul and paying recognition to the sponsors that helped make this whole event happen. Even though, from Team Icarus' perspective, we didn't get money directly to our particular team from these sponsors. Without these sponsors, you don't have the rest of the teams. Without the rest of the teams, we can't afford to go and do this event.
Yeah, so where I'm going to go with this, you guys, and I've been kicking this around. So where I'll go with this is like the Richmond Burton team. Those guys did fantastic with their fundraising. My high school team did fantastic with their fundraising. My community-based team did fantastic with their fundraising. So where I'm going to go with this is I will purchase all the helium for all the teams so that we have our helium paid for each team. After that, I'll evaluate where we stand with what I collected, because obviously some of this money went directly to those teams. Like for instance, Scott Forge, they went and supported the team there in Richmond Burton. So where we'll go with this is I will look at because I went out on a bunch of different campaigns and raised $500 in sponsorships to be used. So I will look, buy the helium for the teams, and then the transportation of the helium, because I have to get all the helium there, which I'm gonna need help. I think I got some parents on my side that are gonna help get the helium there, and I think Travis, you and I can discuss too helium transportation. But we're gonna have 10 to 12 bottles of helium. That's a lot of helium to transport. And that U-Haul that I rent, and I think we're gonna have to get 2 of them. That's another, that's $800 to $1,000 just in U-Haul vehicles. We'll pay for that part. We'll pay for the the helium, and then after that I'll evaluate, and if we've got from that $500 sponsorships, if I've got $1,000 or $1,500 left over, we'll divide that to the teams as necessary to help reduce the cost of operating at Spaceport.
Can I put the logo of my company on there? That is basically what
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
using
yeah.
my
Yeah.
company to fundraise. You call it fundraising. It's my own personal company.
Yeah.
that
You
I'm
sponsor.
this.
Yeah,
Right.
no, completely. Like obviously STEM plus C, we're not on, I guess I should put that on the back of the t-shirt this year. But anyway, it's usually on the front, but this year we'll have the Strato Journey. But yeah, like my STEM plus C, they'll be on the back of the t-shirt. Your company can be on the back of the t-shirt. Worldview, Travis Travis works over there at Worldview, and they contributed, so they're on here. But yeah, if you have your company, if you have a company that contributed, definitely send me that logo and we'll get it onto the back of the t-shirt.
Okay.
Cool. Eric, sorry for stepping on you just now earlier. Just trying to get that in real quick.
Yep. No. That's all good, guys. So Travis, I think I'll talk about this to you separately, Travis, about transporting helium, because everybody good there? Hello? Everybody still there?
Yeah.
Eric,
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right. Get me your guys' weight estimates on your airplane as soon as possible. Just so that I know I got to hone in on how much helium we're going to need. Like I said, STEM Plus C will use the money that I collected from those $500 sponsorships to purchase our helium, transport our helium, and then once I go from there, I'll see how much money is left over for Kate's team and for my high school team. You guys just take, because I know you guys fully funded, so let's say I have enough money left over to send you guys $500 or $300 toward reducing the cost of operating at Spaceport. Just put that into your STEM account or your club account for use for future projects, I guess, since you guys fully funded. Does that sound good, Kate?
Yeah, we're fully funded. Like, we're paying for hotel rooms, and then we've got money left over for our next project.
Yeah. So whatever, that's what my high school team's going to do too. Whatever money I can divvy out to them, they're just, because like they fully funded too. They're just going to take that money and put it toward the future projects that we do. And the same thing with our community-based team. Those guys well exceeded the amount that they needed to fundraise too.
Okay, cool. That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I think funding went really good as far as how each team came together. I was surprised at how well the teams did. So anyway, Nick Lang was going to video document the whole event. He emailed me the other day and said that he got another gig that weekend. So Nick Lang is the guy, I think some of you might be familiar, does all the coverage of like the Drone Racing League, and he's got a YouTube channel out there. Anyway, he was going to video document. He's not. So you guys feel free to take pictures, take video, and then the week after Spaceport, you guys Dropbox it or whatever, and I will compile a recap video, but you guys are also you guys have my full blessing. Go forth and conquer with whatever recap video you guys want to do and publish on your guys' Facebook or social media or YouTube, whatever you guys want to do. Any questions about the video documentation at all? All right, I think that's it, guys. My brain hurts. 2-hour, 15-minute call. Does anybody have any last-minute questions? I'll do a recap write-up with the information that I said I would provide, and I'll get it out to each team. Everybody good? Eric, you good? Travis, you're good?
I'm good.
Kate, you
Thank
good?
you very much, Paul.
Yeah, thanks I'm sorry for being such a long call, guys, but I just want to make sure, obviously, this is 6 teams involved. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same trajectory. Kate, you good?
Paul, I'll just stay on the line if you'll stay on.
Okay. Eric, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, we'll talk to you. Travis, you good?
Yep.
All
Thanks
right.
again, Paul.
Yeah, tell Aaron I
Cheers.
said hello.
All right,
All
will
right,
do.
take it easy, guys.
Cheers.